Alright guys, welcome back. I just posted the video, I haven't posted it yet, I just finished recording the video for the introduction this week. What I want to do now is just real quick give you guys an introduction to MLA formatting. I'm just going to pull this up real quick and go over it. I know I went over it in the introduction video, but just since this is the video on MLA formatting, let's see. So, this is how it should look. Again, let me double check real quick, but I don't think you guys have any sources due. I can't remember if I put those in your guidelines or not. So let's look. 3 or 4 pages about an experience. Yeah. So, yeah, no, you don't need any sources. If you wanted to put sources, I don't know if anybody's going to want to put sources, but if you do want to put sources, you could use a source to kind of, maybe if you talked about white privilege and you talked about how you've had an experience with that somehow, you could use a source to kind of back up statistics of how many people, maybe believe in white privilege, or how many people statistically benefit from white privilege, or how many people don't benefit from white privilege. So if you wanted to put in a source, it would really just be a matter of you supplementing your story with facts, and you could do that if you want to. It's not required, but you could. So going back to the MLA formatting really quick. Okay, hold on. Alright. MLA formatting, here we go. So, this is what it should look like. This is kind of be your gold standard for which you should strive to in formatting. Notice how every page has last name, student number, last name, page number, and on every page, 1, 2, 3. First thing you need to put over here is your student name, your teacher's name, and then you can put Mr. Lee, Mike Lee, whatever you want to put. English 101, that's the class name. And August, well, that's August. Obviously it's not August. Well, it is actually August. This was posted almost a year ago. So this will be the date. Obviously, put today's date. And then whatever the title of your story is. So if you're writing about police brutality, it could be as simple as my experience with police brutality. It doesn't need to be anything profound or anything like that. Basically, you're just giving us a title so that we know what the rest of the story is going to be about. So if you're talking about police brutality, it needs to be in some form or fashion in the title. So don't tell us like my day eating Cheerios if the rest of your essay is about police brutality, unless you have some clever metaphor for that. So that's what it should look like. Now let me show you a little bit. And sorry, my webcam is actually in front of my monitor, so I can't find my. There we are. There's my word. So the first thing you're going to want to do is select the entire page, and I always tell everyone to do that by hitting Control and A at the same time, because that's going to select the entire paper. Now if you want to, you can just kind of drag somehow. There you go. You can drag and click if you want to do it that way, but honestly I like the shortcut, the keyboard shortcut, so and being a gamer I know a lot of them. So Control A, Control plus A, that's Control and A at the same time. We'll select the entire paper, and then up here at the top, I'm using, what am I using? Office 2007, I think? Maybe 2010? I don't know. Anyways, I may be using a different version of Word, or I may be using a different program altogether. So this is mainly for people that use Word. If you don't use Word, I can't exactly show you Apple because I don't have an Apple. So bear with me on that. But nonetheless, you're going to find this little double arrow icon right here. And you'll want to bring it down to 2.0 because the entire paper is going to be spaced in 2.0. So you can write your name. Now let's write student name here. Now also, whenever you Control A, notice up here your font and your font size need to be 12-point font. So change that to 12, and it also needs to be Times New Roman. So there's your student name, and that when you hit Control plus A, that does it for the entire paper. That's Control All, so everything. That actually works in several different places, not just Word. And then your teacher's name, and then class name, and then the date. Now you'll notice that my spacing looks a little weird, and I'm not going to ding you if you don't do this, but it is preferred. If you right-click in the blue area after you All, or Control A, you can go to paragraph. You'll see that the spacing here is actually 10 points after every line. There's actually 10 small points, basically the size of, I think it's 10 million. I don't remember. But anyways, you knock that all the way down. That way it kind of fits a little better, and it starts to look a little bit more like this guy right here, because you notice mine was a lot bigger, and now I can't see Word again. Like I said, my webcam's right in the middle, and someone's calling me. Alright, so now you want to center it right here so you can put your title in there. Now it will be centering right here. You have the justification here. Pretty much you're only going to be used left and center. So you want to center it. Now if you want to, you can actually hit Control E, and that will bounce you back and forth. Control plus E, Control and E at the same time. It'll bounce you back and forth between center and left side, depending on how many times you hit it. So your title will go here. If you have a subtitle, then that'll go here. And then you Control E back over to the left. Make sure you indent by hitting Tab, or you can space 10 times, I guess, if you want to. It's easier just to hit Tab. And then you begin writing your first paragraph. This is where my first paragraph begins. And then blah blah blah, you go in and tell your story. And if you want to know more about organizing the paper, you go into my organization video that I posted this week. Oh yeah, one last thing. Up here in the top right, you should have your last name and page number. So the easiest way to do that is to go to Insert and find on here the page number. Excuse me. The page number, you want to go to top of page, and you want it to be on the top right. So here's top left, top middle, top right. So you find that, click on it, and it's going to have your number. Now you can just write your last name. For me, well, I'll write student last name. Now notice the font here is actually different than this. So just like last time, you can hit Control plus A. It'll select the entire page, well, the entire header. And you want to change your font to 12-point font and your font style to Times New Roman, so that you have you have 12-point font, Times New Roman throughout the entire page. So then now you're going to begin typing your essay, and if you were to type your entire essay, whoa. Now let's pretend like this is your first paragraph. All of a sudden, your paper is going to begin looking like a real essay. And all I'm doing is pasting in the copy so I can show you what it looks like after you begin working on it for a little while. So if you zoom out, your paper should look a little bit like this. You may not have a subtitle. And if you did, I mean, a lot of people don't really know how to use subtitles, but if you did use a subtitle, your title is going to be something along the lines of, if that was your title, that's pretty self-explanatory. You don't really need a subtitle. However, if your title is a little bit vague, or maybe it's a metaphor of some kind, maybe beatings in the U.S. You'd want to put a colon there, because your subtitle then is going to explain the title. If you just put beating in the U.S., that could be abuse, it could be domestic abuse, it could be child abuse, it could be police brutality, it could be any different thing. So beating in the U.S., that's pretty vague. So you need a subtitle to kind of explain it a little bit. Beating in the U.S., police brutality in rural America. Okay, so the subtitle kind of explains the title if you have a clever metaphor or some kind of description that's a little bit vague. So that, notice that I misspelled begins in every paragraph. But anyways, this is more or less what MLA format should look like. And if you have any questions, of course you can ask me, but I want to show you another one, a website. It's called the Purdue OWL. And if you come here, you can, let's see, oh sorry, I was thinking I just gave you APA. I didn't, I gave you MLA. I freaked out for a minute. MLA formatting, you'll click on that, and here are all the the resources you'll need, and there's actually a sample paper here. So if you go back to Google, type in Purdue OWL, it'll be Purdue OWL, Purdue Online Writing Lab, Purdue University in Indiana. Click on MLA Formatting and Style Guide, bam, it's got all this good stuff, all these good resources. You go to the sample paper, and it may pop up here. If it doesn't, you can just click on the media file and download it. And it kind of gives you an explanation. It shows you how it should be formatted, and then it gives you an explanation as to why. So that's a little bit of a resource there. I'll go over MLA again next unit to kind of refresh everyone's memory and give you some more info when we will be using sources. So for now, really just work on actually formatting the paper. So if you have any questions, like I said, you can post it in the, if you go to start here, I have the question form there, the general questions for this course. You can click that and you can find some questions or you can post some questions if you have them. But other than that, good luck on the assignment, and let me know if you guys need anything. And other than that, have a good week.